Hey everyone, and welcome to our breakout session at the OpenText World 2021. So within our session, you will learn how we enable organizations worldwide to reduce cost, manage risk, increase performance and productivity, and accelerate content-centric application deployments by delivering a product and services for complex migration, consolidation, and decommissioning scenarios. So my name is Florian Piazza-Kensen. I'm running the product division at FME, and with me I have Jens Dahl today, who's one of our migration experts and principal migration consultants. So for all of you who are not familiar with FME, we are a leading provider of business and technology services supporting the deployment of content, services, and ECM solutions in the life science, industrial manufacturing, finance, and insurance industry. And with our migration experts, we support clients worldwide with migration services utilizing our product Migration Center, which supports content migration from a variety of source systems to OpenText Documentum, including D2, Content Suite, and InfoArchive. So whether you need just a product or you required someone to manage the entire migration project in a full service agreement, our migration portfolio is equipped to deliver the highest quality results. So within the last 16 years, FME became one of the most engaged companies when customers required to solve complex migration and decommissioning problems. In over 1,000 successful migration projects, we were able to improve our product as well as our best practice methodology to reduce the cost and the project duration for our clients significantly. So our offering supports any kind of projects where customers require to move content, metadata, folders, or other information objects to the OpenText ECM stack. This includes classic migration scenarios, but as I mentioned, also consolidation, integration, decommissioning, archiving, and many other scenarios as well. For example, we help our clients to migrate content from a variety of legacy applications to OpenText, onboard content to cloud solutions, migrate content to XECM workspaces, or integrate the migration of physical objects into a migration plan. We also could reduce the cost of the total cost of ownership for our customers by consolidating repositories and platforms, and we have helped our clients to integrate data and documents after a merger or acquisition. And with our portfolio, we are also supporting the rollout of OpenText Documentum, Content Suite, and we retire any kind of content-centric applications to OpenText InfoArchive. But from our point of view, another important aspect of any migration project is related to data quality. So simply moving content from A to B in most cases is not enough. So such projects require data cleansing and metadata enrichment during the migration phases. So with our powerful metadata transformation engine and our artificial intelligence-based classification capabilities, as well as our service framework to analyze data quality, we are able to create additional value to almost any migration project. So before Jens is going to provide you an overview about our service, competencies, and best practice methodology, I would like to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about our proven product Migration Center for OpenText. So as mentioned, there are plenty of reasons why content needs to be moved from one to another system. And every single project has its own challenges, which needs to be addressed. Migration Center is not only a product, it's rather a content migration platform which addresses all possible challenges out of the box without additional programming or scripting effort. So Migration Center prevents, for example, the data integrity through an auditable migration process and help accomplish migration without downtimes. It enables you to migrate several systems with just one single product and help to transform, enrich, clean, and standardize your metadata. Also, a high-volume data migration is supported. And with Migration Center, you can conduct a legal and audit-compliant migration project. So, and as we said, in other words, Migration Center is able to make complex migration projects predictable for our clients. And this with just one single powerful product. So classic ETL products and frameworks just cover a fraction of migration projects. And with Migration Center, we deliver a product that provides out-of-the-box support for almost all project phases. With Migration Center, you can analyze and extract your source data, organize your migration, transform, map, clean, and enrich your metadata, validate the results before committing the data to the target system, manage your issues, and secure a traceable import. And the process and the capabilities are based on over 16 years of experience and has been proven in thousands of projects. And our standardized migration process, together with the user-friendly documentation and product trainings, ensure a very flat learning curve. Doesn't matter which source and target systems are involved. So with Migration Center, every project follows the same steps. It starts with extracting and analyzing your source data, organize your migration in manageable batches, set up, simulate, and execute your metadata transformation, validate the results, and finally, commit the data to the target OpenText platform. So due to the platform concept of Migration Center, the flexibility is enormous, but the infrastructural footprint is very small. Migration Center consists of three main components. So the first component is the Migration Center client, which is the control center for all migration phases, jobs, and processes, and the Migration Center database, which includes the business logic and all performance-critical processes. And last but not least, the job server, which runs the export jobs for the source system and the import jobs for the target system. And these three components are called Migration Center Core. And beside our core of the product, we provide over 200 different migration passes. And when we talk about the migration pass, we always mean the combination of source and target system connectors. So for example, file system to OpenText. So with Migration Center, you are able to migrate data from many different systems like SharePoint, OneDrive, S3, FileShare, Documentum, Content Server, FileNet, etc., etc. Just with one single product to the OpenText ECM stack. So in case we do not support your system out of the box, we also have a very powerful connector for any kind of SQL-compliant application, as well as an API and framework to build and deploy custom connectors easily. So this capability allows you and us to connect to almost any possible application or platform without touching the core of the product. So for all of you who are familiar with our product or has joined one of our webinars before, I would like to mention our new client. So within the next quarter, we are releasing a new web client for Migration Center, which will replace our current Windows client on the long run and reduce the footprint once more. So this UI, this new web UI, comes with a modern and fresh user interface, a lot of new capabilities, and a context-sensitive online user guide. And all these new features and all these enhancements are based on several customer surveys over the last couple of years. So, and finally, to sum it up, so with Migration Center, we provide a product and capabilities to transform, map, enrich, and cleansing your data, secure and manage large volumes, simulate and test your transformation and all your activities before committing the data, support multiple source systems with just one single product, and provide artificial intelligence-based auto-classification and reporting capabilities to increase your data quality, deliver a predefined and auditable migration process, and we also support any kind of scenarios or migration approaches like Delta, Big Bang, or step-by-step migrations. And with Migration Center, we can also prevent the data integrity and traceability during the migration project, support in-place upgrades and migration without moving the content to another system. So that's especially for all our customers who are using Documentum, D2, or Content Suite. So, and finally, we can also support almost all systems based on our open connectivity architecture. So that means the framework, the API, and our SQL compliant connector. So with this having said, I will hand over to my colleague Jens, who will talk about our service portfolio and our best practice methodology. So Jens, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Florian, for the great introduction to the Migration Center product. With that, I'll try to close the loop from product to a full service migration, giving an impression how FME can support your migration, consolidation, or decommissioning project, and why it is a good idea to leverage the experience of our services teams. Migration Center is now on the market for more than 15 years. As you can imagine, migration is one of FME's core competencies across the whole company. So let me drop a word about our migration practice first. As you might expect, we have a migration team with cross-industry and broad cross-platform migration expertise. But rather than a single migration team, in FME we have several teams that execute migrations with different focus. That also illustrates somehow the complexity of the migration topic itself. First, there's another specialist team for the topic of archiving and decommissioning that can also consult your project in the regulatory aspects. Then there are industry teams with in-depth knowledge of very specific regulations and domain expertise. Most notably, this is the life science teams of our global life science unit in Germany and in the US. Also, we have different platform teams which do migration by themselves and can support complex technical problems with expert knowledge during a migration on specific platforms. And finally, our nearshore teams that enable us to offer A, competitive pricing, and B, product extensions for very specific requirements by our development team. In many cases, a migration involves multiple members from different teams, so to best match the project requirements. And last but not least, due to the fact that migration expertise is spread across the whole company, our competence center migration services assures that our methodology and tools are standardized. The whole migration practice benefits from broad contribution as well as conducts permanent exchange of knowledge and best practices. So, as illustrated on top of this slide, one outcome of this is that FME uses a common migration approach and process proven in hundreds of migration projects and adopting the standardized migration center workflow. Now, having a short look into the elements of our services portfolio, we cover any phase of your migration project. Starting with empowering services like migration assessment workshop, the analysis of existing content, proof of concept, and migration concepts. Furthermore, implementation services for product configuration, project management, execution, as well as quality assurance and validation. Another important factor in every migration is a detailed and transparent reporting process. We offer each of these elements separately or as a full service in an end-to-end migration. Finally, we can deliver product training and extended support, enabling your own team to execute migrations leveraging migration services. Instead of going now into a lot of details of these elements of our services portfolio, I want to introduce some of our extended offerings that differentiate and emphasize our services. First of all, if you are from the life science industry and looking into clinical trials, submissions, or quality management, our global life science unit located with teams in Germany and the US can offer you more than 20 years of experience with IT projects and migrations in validated environments. These teams not only execute validation, they live the GXP validation processes and have extended our standard process to meet the requirements of validated IT systems. Currently, 80% of the global top 10 and 57% of the global top 30 pharmaceutical companies already use Migration Center. And many of them do it because of the experience of our life science teams. If required, we can provide validation packages with a full set of documentation templates and process extensions required to migrate a validated system. Independent from a specific industry, I want to show you how we take the standard process one step further and point out the concept of a migration or decommission factory. The concept of the factory originates from industrial manufacturing, where line production allows to reduce time and effort dramatically. Setting up a factory, we separate the engineering phase from the production phase. In the engineering phase, we scope, specify, and implement the platform as well as the process, which then makes up our production line, to stick with the factory analogy. In the production phase, we then leverage the efficiency of a line production to dramatically reduce cost and effort, and at the same time increase ROI. Having built the production line allows to apply some principles known from Agile software development to run the migration in an Agile manner. The production line consists of a repeatable and measurable process, which is achieved by defined stage gates, the optimized technical migration platform, as well as templates for all artifacts required during the migration. And the final prerequisite is to quantify the migration team's velocity that can be measured in volume, performance, and complexity of a migration subset. An Agile factory allows for accurate predictions and forward-looking planning, as well as transparent reporting and burn-downs, which is one key to build a high degree of trust during migrations. With this in place, it's possible to identify deviations early and adjust the plan and/or quickly adjust the process. Still, there's one caveat, and that is that a factory is not suitable for each kind of migration. It's especially well suited for large-scale replatforming or archiving if there are homogeneous business processes. Typically, a factory is not advisable for migrations with very complex business integrations or migrations that have a big degree of variance. Self-speaking, it's not suited for very small migrations. And that brings me to another service Migration Center is perfectly suited for, and this is the analysis of legacy content. You remember Florian telling that Migration Center uses a central Migration Center database to store and analyze content from all sorts of source repositories? And the great thing about this is that the metadata schema of any repository is standardized in the database, allowing to execute standardized or custom reports independent of the source system. So we can easily analyze and report on basic metrics and volume, quality and classification of data by predefined criteria, and the level of implementation of business rules. This analysis then allows to define rules to improve the data quality and implementation of business rules. What we often see, and especially in file system content, but not only in file system content migration projects, is a very low level of data quality on one hand, and next to zero enforcement of business rules on the other hand. In these cases, applying rules throughout a migration allows to migrate content into a much more structured schema or even business solution, and thereby increasing the value of the content itself, as well as increasing the user efficiency. So now, as I'm slowly coming to an end, I hope you see why it's a good idea to not only use Migration Center for your migration, but also to engage with our migration services. And finally, if you have concerns because you are located in a different region, no problem. With our network of partners, we have global coverage of our product sales and support, as well as migration services. And by the way, if you are an SI and consider a partnership, we are always looking for new partners, so don't hesitate to contact us. And with this, I want to hand over to Florian again for some closing words.
So Jens, thanks a lot for this great overview about our service portfolio and the best practices. It's great to see what we have in the box for customers and partners around Migration Center. And I like to mention one last thing, and that's our website. It's migration-center.com. So on that website, you will find a lot of information. You will find a free evaluation copy, product information, success stories, information about our service portfolio. We share a lot of recorded webinars and blog posts for different topics. And of course, you can also request an individual demo or a migration assessment. So, and with this having said, so we would like to thank you for joining our breakout session today, and keep in mind it's FME you love to work with. So have a great day and goodbye.